Gaze for Australia and one Karnishevas for Lithuania. Both played for Seton Hall in the NCAAs. Whose ball is this? This belongs to Lithuania.
Andrew Blahoff again. Strong defence through on the denial, and he's not able to tip it back in for Australia. Need to grind away here and hold them out, stop them from penetrating the ball.
Very much point for point at the moment. Lithuania went to the dressing rooms with a 2-point lead, now lead it by 1. But there's a 3-point shot here, and it's an open 3 which they generally bury and win it back. But that was Masculinas doing it all on his own. Here's Stombergus all the way to the hole. The tip there from Zhukauskas doesn't go and came off the hands of Tony Ronaldson. And Lithuania gets the ball back again. By weight of possession here, they're going to cause Australia some problems.
Australia really has to knuckle down and get some defensive boards here where we're getting hands and different things to plays. And again, desperation stuff from Andrew Gaze. That's exactly what we need now, Phil, at both ends of the floor. Some good, strong defence and some good patience in offence. Get the ball through some hands and get some good shots off and build things gradually.
3-point shot again from Gaze as he got rid of Stombergus. But they almost lost it at the back, Lithuania. In fact, they have lost it this time. That's an Australian ball. Adamaitis, in trying to pull it in, lost it once, went to grab it again and then rolled it out off his foot. So Lithuania giving Australia some chances. Australia can retake the lead on this play. Andrew Gaze had another good look at the 3. Ronaldson. Plenty of 3-point shooters out there. The hook from Tony Ronaldson, and that will be off Gaze, the referee says. Lithuania ball. So Australia trying to put some offence together to try and find an easy bucket. They got to Tony Ronaldson with the jump hook on the inside, which he's pretty good at, but not on that occasion. Stombergus. Masculinas has put up plenty. This time the shot goes up from Karnishevas, and he really can bury the basketball. And a turnover by the Australians. Not what they wanted, with Lithuania taking their biggest lead of the ball game at 42-38.
Well, Australia really needs to grind this out. This is a really crunch possession right here now, Phil.
They don't want Lithuania to skip away at all. It's a too hard a fought game. Stepping all the way to the hoop was a pretty good step from the big guy, Aurelius Zhukauskas, who had 6 points in the first half. Gets his first points of the second half, but it's a 6-point lead to Lithuania. Australia has to come up with a good offense here. Blahoff, who's not very offensively minded at the moment. Rogers has his shot blocked by Zhukauskas. Just way too big for him. And Lithuania can put a real dent in the score here. No shot there from Adamaitis. He waited for some friends. Masculinas. Karnishevas being looked after by Blahoff. Stombergus, they're the two scorers. Stombergus off the free throw line, can't score it, but they do get possession again. Almost losing it, almost again. Heel with a hand on the ball. Lithuania trying to turn the ball over. And a travel. They finally turn it over on the travel from Adamaitis.
Desperation stakes from Australia there again in defence. Came up with the ball, which is good stuff. We now need to be able to string some things together in offence. At the moment, we're 1 or 2 passes and the shot's going up. We need to be able to grind things down a bit better.
That shot there from Paul Rogers with the 7'2" player in front of him. I mean, Rogers has not shown us yet that he can stick that shot from the baseline. And after 2 shots like that, he's been taken out. It's a timed timeout here from Australia because they really need this one. It's 6 points down after 4 minutes of the second half. And Rogers has been taken out. Anstey comes back. Oh, in fact, they might play with Rogers and Anstey. Now, I think Rogers is out and Anstey is back. Blahoff remains in there in the front court with Tony Ronaldson. And Gaze and Hill, the old firm, in the back court. But there's the Lithuanian coach, Jonas Kazlauskas, who was an assistant coach in Atlanta after Vladis Garastas retired after Atlanta after something like 12 or 13 seasons with the Lithuanian team. Coach Barry Barnes, who's been in control of this team for a while, and Alan Black with him, who was on the coaching staff in Atlanta. So they've got some miles between them. In fact, Black and Barnes go back a long way as player and coach at Nunawading. So there's the scene here at the Peace and Friendship Stadium at Piraeus, the port of Athens. Two stadiums being used for this tournament, the Peace and Friendship, and the main stadium, the Olympic. So let's see if the change in lineup can do anything for Australia. We've got to get Shane Heal scoring again. 3 points from Heal in the game so far, and he's played all 24 minutes. We've got a holding foul, and it's gone against, I think, Stombergis. So it's just the second personal foul against Stombergis, and the first team foul for Lithuania of the second half. Australia has 2. But it's all quiet here at Peace and Friendship at the moment. Very peaceful and very friendly. Penetration from Heal, dumps off for Gaze, but no shot for him. Inside to Anstey. There'll be a shot for him if he can get it up there. No. Off the hands of Stombergis, Australia's ball. With the shot clock down to 19 points, so they used 11 seconds fairly ineffectually. Screen Ronaldson. Trying to open Heal, 3-point shot, 2-point shot from Gaze. Just had 1 foot either side of the line, but any points will do right now for Australia.
Better offence, get a stop here now and start to build at the other end of the floor. We've certainly taken the Lithuanians' running game away from them, but now we've got to stop their penetration.
Foul number 4 on Andrew Gaze. He just lost his footing and bundled Adamaitis out over the sideline. Hasn't done Adamaitis a lot of good because he has hurt an ankle, but there's the shot from Gaze, and we mightn't see too many more of those for a while. Gaze has been left on the floor. No substitute for him at the moment, but he has 4 fouls against his name, and that's bad news for Australia. I wonder if the Lithuanians will become aware of it very quickly and try to take Gaze on. 3-point shot doesn't go. Well rebounded from Tony Ronaldson. I noticed Brett Maher getting ready to come in for Gaze, and the dunk missed from Anstey. He was fouled on the way to the hoop, and the foul goes against Zhukauskas. Have a look at it. Anstey got a pretty good look at the dunk. Was whacked on the back of the arm by the big man Zhukauskas coming over the back. Well, Brett Maher comes in, takes out Gaze. Anstey up the line. He's 4 of 5 from there tonight, so no real problems for him as Australia's free throw percentage creeps up to 69%.
It's a bit better, a little more positive outlook from Australia. 2 points in it now.
Carrying the ball is Maskalionis. In the backcourt with him right now is Zhukauskas. That's Mindas Zhukauskas. And rebound from Tony Ronaldson. Anstey was quick down the floor. If they could take advantage of Anstey's quickness, he does run the floor very well against the 7-foot player Eurelius Zhukauskas. Anstey trying to feed it into Ronaldson, and the referee points the other way.
Well, you know, you should grab that.
It should really.
You know, you can't leave things in the hands of the officials. You've got to make sure that if possession's 9/10 of the law, we could have picked it up, had another shot at it.
It was always going to be a 50-50 call, and there was a chance there for Ronaldson to grab it. So 6 minutes down in the second half. Australia trailing it by 2. Karnishevas.
A couple of good passages of defence by the Australians. Let's see if they can keep this up. Karnishevas still looking to operate on Tony Ronaldson. He's going to back him in now.
Dumping all the way across to the 3-point shooter, but a rebound grabbed there by Ainikis, who's come back in to take out Zhukauskas. Ainikis working against Anstey at the moment. Here's Ainikis, his first touch in the second half. He spent a long time on the bench. He gets it pretty easily there. That was probably a fortuitous foul coming from the hand of Chris Anstey that time. It will be number 3 from him. But Ainikis was always going to score that. Blauhoff comes out, and in comes McKinnon. Have a look at Anstey with his hands full and grabs Ainikis by the shirt. And the 2-point shot goes down there from Lukminas. So a 4-point lead again to Lithuania.
Lithuania is switching on all those down screens now, trying to take the ball out of Shane Heal's hands as Shane goes to the hoop, finds Brett Maher on the perimeter. Back to Shane in the corner. Yes.
Heal's first basket since the opening seconds of the game. He hasn't had too many opportunities in this. They haven't been able to find him. But Maher did that time and narrows the gap to 1. 3-point percentage, not bad for Australia. 5 of 12. 46 plays 45. The defense being called on here for Australia. Inikius trying to take all the way Anstey. They left Anstey on the floor, and a foul that time from Ronaldson. That's number 3 on Ronaldson.
What Lithuania are doing now, Phil, they're penetrating only on the one bounce, they're committing the help and then making a pass, a second pass, and now they're starting to be able to get the penetration game going. Australia's got to be careful right here, as we see an offensive foul on number 8, Zakauskas.
That's Mindaugas Zakauskas, the guard, rather than the big man, Aurelius Zakauskas, who's on the bench at the moment. But the foul count, 5 against Australia, 3 against Lithuania after 8 minutes of the second half. Maher to Ronaldson, looking to Heal along the baseline. Try and get this man loose. Anstey backing his man in. Inikius slipped one out the back, but the pass was wide of Ronaldson. And Rogers will be coming back in for Ronaldson. Shot there was a rather loose shot coming up, and a foul on the play.
Good blocking out from Tony Ronaldson.
That'll be 4 against Inikius.
Well, as the scoreboard would indicate, the game's very delicately poised. It could go either way here, as we've got a timeout on the floor.
I wonder what Lithuania are going to do now, because Inikius, who had those 3 fouls in the first half, has come in and gotten his 4th already. And they will probably bring back Zakauskas, which will be unfortunate for Australia, because I liked Australia's chances with Inikius in there. They had a lot more trouble with Zakauskas. And of course Australia have problems of their own at the moment, but there's, you can see the scorers. Number 10 Gaze has 12 points, but he's taken those 12 points to the bench right now, sitting with 4 fouls.
Well, the scoring percentages, Australia are scoring 32% from the floor, from the 2-point area, and 42% from the 3-point line. Lithuania 41% from the 2-point area. Not outstanding shooting, but better than Australia, and 27 points from the 3-point line. And statistically, in terms of the assists and the steals, they're about the same. Rebounds are pretty close. So everything's coming down to a pretty tense last 11 minutes 51. It'll be interesting to see whether Lithuania continue to switch to keep Shane Heal out of the game. They've done a pretty good job at the moment. I think he scored 6 points, I think, Phil.
What about the options for Barry Barnes in the 2-guard spot? With Gaze with foul trouble, at the moment he's got Brett Maher in there. He put Frank Drimmick in for just about a minute and a half in the first half. Which way do you go in that 2-guard spot right now?
Well, it could be interesting. Frank has some experience playing in the 2-guard with the Melbourne Magic, so that's another card up his sleeve, but I don't think he's played much of that with this group. So I think Barry will be content to keep Brett out there in the 2 spot, and then the other critical decision is when he brings Andrew Gaze back into the group.
And it looks like Shane Heal will have to play the game out now. He's not going to get a rest, because Maher has been the man who rests Shane Heal. Hand off from Rogers to Heal. He's been dogged here by Lukminas. All the drive on the inside, and McKinnon, a tip on that one. Rogers got a couple of goes at it, wasn't able to convert. So still Lithuania hangs on to that 1-point lead. Lithuania have been very good in the clutch in 2 games, against USA and against Brazil, where they had close finishes and finished both of them off. Little penetration there, finally gets into the hands of Inikius, who's staying in there with those 4 fouls. Well, they obviously want to give Zakauskas a couple of more minutes rest. Stombergis has the shot blocked, and
30-second violation.
Yep,
sustained defence from Australia there. Lithuania just started to look fairly comfortable. They were moving the ball well, giving a shot fake, penetrating, but Australia stayed on the floor and ground down to a 30-second. That's a great stop at this stage in the game.
So it's Zukowskis on McKinnon. Heel looking to penetrate and goes down low for Ronaldson to operate against Stombergis and knocks it down and draws the foul as well. Will this be against Stombergis? In fact, I think it might be against number 8, Zukowskis. Yes, he is against Zukowskis. That's 3 on him. But it brings both teams to the 5-foul count. And Tony Ronaldson has given Australia the lead and can stretch it to 2 points right here. Nothing doing, but they get the ball back. That's just as good, maybe better. Australia's free throw percentage, we keep talking about it, but it's back to 67% as Rogers backs one away, just can't get it to fall over in front of the rim. Now this game that's hanging on a knife edge right now. We're halfway mark of the second half. Stombergis.
Australia still doing a good job preventing penetration, although as we see Sam McKinnon just pushed number 7 there, Stombergis, out a little bit, which changed his angle. Brett Maher from the perimeter. We need to be a little more controlled than that, Phil, I think.
Yeah, Brett fairly confident the way that Brett went up for that shot, but probably destroyed his own confidence with the shot. I guess the players have got to have the freedom when they see that three-point shot open to go ahead and take it, but perhaps sometimes with hindsight, you'd like to see them use it through the hands a bit. Tipped over the end line by Rogers that time. So 30-second clock again to Lithuania. They make a sub here.
Karnishevas is coming back in for Zukowskis.
Yeah, Zukowskis has been in there in the forward spot with Karnishevas coming back, so they've almost got a full deck back in there with Zukowskis and Stombergis. Or in fact, Karnishevas and Stombergis in the front court. Stepping, this is Stombergis. Lukminas drives and penetrates. Inikius with a rolling hook shot.
That's his stock standard trademark, Inikius, with the rolling right-hand hook. He's been using that to good effect for most of the tournament.
Gives Lithuania a 1-point lead again. Rogers can try and operate against Inikius. Gets it up and in. Nice move there from Rogers.
Great reward from Paul Rogers. He's been getting inside there. He hasn't been having a great shooting night, but one drops for him. And at least he's had the courage to continue to go in there and give it a go. That's good, strong stuff.
Yes, he's 2 of 10. Probably a little unfortunate with some of them. They've been tips, controlled tips, the statisticians have said. And that will be a foul on Brett Maher, as down the middle went Lukminas. So met Brett Maher's first foul, and it will be an end-line ball, because that's the 6th team foul against Australia. But Australia with their noses in front, 49 playing 48. Jaskevicius in the game as Lithuania looking to use all their bench right here. For Shane Heels to play the point guard and see plenty of them come at him. Karnishevas. Lukminas goes on the inside. 2-man game with Inikius. Rolls it up there. And Rogers it is who grabs the rebound.
Great rebound.
Rogers with 7 rebounds to go with his 5 points.
Shane again.
3-point shot from Heel and swishes the net for 3. 9 points to Shane Heel off 3 of 6 from outside the 3-point line.
Well, again, we need another big defensive effort here, a big stop.
Inikius short with that one. Ronaldson's rebound. Australia off and running. Have got the numbers. Rogers quickly down the floor, underneath, and just can't score it. Worth a try. Big man against big man. Stombergis, and call for the charging foul.
Well, it's great to see Australia missing at one end, and that was a fair enough shot from Paul Rogers. He was there, he had to go up and convert. Tony Ronaldson making the big play down the other end. We see Chris Anstey coming in.
My only question about Ronaldson's position there was, I thought they might say he was too far under the basket to call, because it was fairly close to the hoop, and Stombergis might have had a bit of a complaint there, but well, these calls go either way, don't they?
Phil, it's an interesting stage of the game now, and where these games grind down, we're talking about physical toughness and the way the play goes up and down, and poise in offense and consistency in defense. But there's a mental toughness area that surely has got to come into these games In the first couple of games, Australia loses the first one, then says, oh, okay, we've got a second one to go, and then loses the second one. Well, now the third one becomes strong for them. They must win that. They had a great result in that game against Nigeria. And now there's a certain degree of mental toughness that we need to display here coming down. The scores are close. And Australia are just starting to do some of the little things well, drawing a charge, defensively rebounding, staying on the floor, getting a hand at things. And they're not shooting particularly well, but down the other end of the floor, they're doing a tremendous job. And if that can continue to go for them, that breeds some confidence at that end of the floor, which often flows over into the offensive end. The shots are there. They're getting plenty of opportunities. And let's hope that mentally they can hang tough, and physically we might see that translated.
Well, they've kept Lithuania to 48 points in 32 and a half minutes of basketball. Now, Lithuania's made a change here and brought in Zhukauskas. I mentioned Arnikius brought up his fourth foul some minutes ago. Well, they kept him on the floor, and now they brought in the big man, Aurelius Zhukauskas. 7'2". He did some damage to Australia in the first half. But here's a big play right here, coming out of the timeout with a 4-point lead. If Australia can score it, they'd do themselves a whole lot of good. Heel looking it down low to Ronaldson to see if he can operate on the inside here against Karnišovas. But they go to Anstey, and Anstey buries the 2-point shot and throws the fist in the air. Big basket there from Anstey, who has range, 54-48. Lukminas with Maher in his face. And Karnišovas was fouled on the way to the hoop. No basket, the referee says. I got the foul earlier. That will be, I think, the 7th team foul against Australia. And Sam McKinnon with his second. So Australia are up to the limit now. Lithuania have 6. 7 minutes to go. Strombergis to Karnišovas. Watch for the final 7 minutes for those two to have the ball in their hands. Plenty. One gets the feeling that Karnišovas, good work, Tony Ronaldson, grabbed it that time. One gets the feeling that Karnišovas is trying to... Oh, Sam McKinnon, I thought Anstey was going to catch that and slam it, Phil. Well, he sent it upstairs to him. It was up to the second floor, and the elevator just hadn't gotten into gear. One gets the feeling, though, that Karnišovas is trying to make his presence felt on this game, but certainly defensively he hasn't done that. Blocking foul on Karnišovas puts Lithuania up to the limit, so both teams on the limit with 7. See, Karnišovas with only 7 points at this stage in the game. I'm sure the Lithuanians will be hoping for a bigger offensive output from him. Australia's just played their trump and brought back Andrew Gaze, playing with 4 fouls, and he comes back with 6.5 minutes to go, and Australia leading it by 6. And now make it 9 points on the big shot there from Shane Heel. 4 3-pointers to Heel. Make that 8. I was a bit excited. That was a 2-pointer. So 56 plays 48. Sam McKinnon doing a good job on Karnišovas. Bumped on that screen by Chris Anstey. And Sam McKinnon hits Karnišovas again. This is going to put Karnišovas at the free throw line, as they collected him across the head a couple of times there. And Karnišovas, such an experienced player, plays for Olympiakos here in Greece, and made sure the referees saw that. Have a look at it again. We see the ball go inside to Karnišovas. Now, we're not going to see right there, but this is Arturas Karnišovas, who played at Seton Hall, where Andrew Gaze made a name for himself, and I can't quite recall whether they were there at the same time or not. I think they were, Phil. On that finalist team in the NCAAs. Jasikevicius has come out number 4, and who's been doing a good job on Shane Heel, and number 13. Masculianis has come in to try see if he can keep Shane out of the game. So 6-point game again. Give and go there, Anstey. Count the basket, they say. And 1. Thank you very much. Left the man on the floor. Called the foul. Called the foul there on Karnišovas, who's probably been a little unfortunate because he seemed to be fairly close to the basket, or it would have been a reasonable no call because he's right underneath the basket there. And Karnišovas could feel fairly upset about that. But it jumps Australia out to an 8-point lead. and Chris Anstey at the free throw line where he's 5 of 6. So Anstey's points total comes up to 11 and can't quite make it 12. So under 6 minutes to go in the game now. And the defense will really be popped the question here. Stombergus. They go down low and they dump outside again to Stombergus for 3, and he makes it. You cannot leave that man alone outside the three-point line. 58 plays 53 as the Australian defence had collapsed towards the basket. Gaze to Heel. Gaze getting plenty of bumps there from Maskalionis. They're low to Anstey. Did he come with the hook shot? Rolls to the baseline side. Has it blocked at the back by Zhukauskas. And now Lithuania again. Australia will have to play some D this time.
Must contain, must stop them from driving the ball inside the key, which is their stock standard play.
Right in the middle of the chest there. Good position from Chris Anstey as Adamaitis took him on. And they turned the ball over, Lithuania. Big defensive play there coming from Chris Anstey. But it was a pretty dumb play, I must say, from Adamaitis.
Well, let's see what Australia runs here. Who will they go to? Andrew Gaze is on the floor. He's just come in, of course, and Andrew's out with 12 points.
Hasn't had a shot since he's come back on for the second stint. Anstey looking to feed to someone, finds Gaze for a long 3. Can't put it down. The rebound belongs to Adamaitis. 4.5 minutes to go. Australia by 5. They led it by 8. Inside they go, and an easy lay-in. No basket, the referee says. Too long in the paint, 3 seconds. So a couple of breaks going Australia's way.
Coming down the stretch, a couple of calls going our way. And
Heel. He's got Ronaldson with him in the backcourt this time as they change the offense up. Heel racing along the baseline to try and get rid of his man. Screen from Anstey and rolls. Underneath they go. And the shot of Ronaldson's was blocked, but off the hands of Karnisovas. And Australia will have the ball again. New 30-second clock. They reset the clock. Vlahoff back in the game for Australia with McKinnon out. Ronaldson looking to post up. Double team on Gaze. Over the top they go, and this will be... Will you foul over the top? I think it is. Gaze will go to the free throw line off the foul from Adamaitis, who is looking for the jump ball.
Another break, Phil, another break our way. I think we'll see a substitution come in here. Number 4, Sharonis Jakakavicius is subbed in. I'm not sure whether he's going to take...
Looking at that, though, that's a pretty fair call for a jump ball, isn't it?
Yes. I think, again, another call that went our way.
So a couple of breaks going Australia's way. We've got timeout here with 3:53 to go, and Australia leading it by 5 plus possession. So it's a question of whether Australia can take advantage of the breaks going their way over the last couple of minutes. The brains trust from Australia. Coaches Brown, Black and Barnes.
Australia have a really big cheer squad starting to get into it over there, Phil, now as we see again this replay. Andrew maybe taken down a bit there, I'm not sure, but that would normally be a jump ball
He's
call.
got a good hand on the ball there. There's that little give and go with Anstey, and that's another one I reckon went Australia's way, because that player was there in pretty good position. If he wasn't, he was well underneath the basket anyway. So the Australian lineup we've got out there at the moment is very close to the starting lineup, apart from Chris Anstey being in the place of Paul Rogers. Vlahoff in there, who hasn't done too much offensively in this game. He's just had the one shot. Sorry, 2 shots. He's none of 1 from the three-point line. He's 1 of 1 from the field. But the scorers will look to Gaze and Heel, of course. And looking inside to Chris Anstey. Tony Ronaldson, who had 9 points early, hasn't been able to do too much since. Hasn't been able to get the 3 going. He's 1 of 2 from outside the three-point line. But Anstey's done a pretty serviceable job. He's 11 points, just the 3 rebounds. But Gaze to shoot a pair off the line. He's Australia's leading scorer with 12.
You can almost feel the sigh of relief as these baskets drop down. Just stretch this lead out. 3:53 to go.
Well, 7-point lead now to Australia. See what the defence can do. They won't want Lithuania to hit a three. Jaskevicius in the backcourt. Stombergis down the middle, and he's fouled. He'll go to the free throw line.
Australia must contain. Andrew Vlahoff got faked off his feet there into the air. Allows a pass opportunity, penetration. They'll just keep taking it to the hoop time and time again.
The foul goes against Anstey. That's his third. Stombergis at the free throw line. Stombergis, who has 14 points to lead all scorers. And making one of two. Australia keep it going through Anstey. He's got no one to give it to. The big man's caught in the backcourt. Now they break it out of there. Get it up into the front court with a couple of seconds to spare. Very experienced players out there right now for Australia, apart from Chris Anstey, who has not had a lot of international basketball, but the other four, you've got to be happy about having the ball in their hands.
Australia into their shuffle offense, trying to be patient, wearing some time off the clock.
Lead it by 6 and forced into a bad shot there.
Great steal from Andrew Gaze.
Will they use the ball a little here now? Gaze dumps along the baseline. Anstey does well to hold it. 3-point shot from Andrew Gaze, and that's a big three right there. Jumps Australia out by 9 with under 3 minutes to go.
Let's hold them out now. We're going to get out here and contain, and as we see the guys again in good stance, Chris Anstey and number 5 going out as Zakauskas. Good job from Anstey, but a foul on Andrew Vlahoff. That time, Andrew didn't move off towards the ball, and as we saw Karnisovas make a strong cut, and Andrew had to foul him to stop a shot getting up.
So that is the 4th personal foul on Andrew Vlahoff. And Karnisovas goes to the free throw line where he's 4 of 4. 9 points in the game. Hasn't done the kind of damage to Australia that he's done to other teams. And Vlahoff's done a pretty serviceable job defensively on him. And of course, Sam McKinnon has come on and taken him on occasions, and even Tony Ronaldson. But he makes a miss this time, and that's an important miss for the Aussies as Anstey grabs that rebound. 8-point lead to Australia with 2.5 minutes to go. Vlahoff looking for heel down the middle, almost losing it into the hands of Anstey. Anstey facing the basket this time. The shot clock comes down to 10 seconds. Gaze to try and manufacture a shot out of this. A long three. What a big three from Andrew Gaze. Will that be enough? It's an 11-point lead to Australia with 2:12 to go. Now some urgency coming into the Lithuanian offense. But they miss on the trip to the basket, and Australia.
Barry Barnes on the side calling for some continuity here, offense, some poise. Put the ball through some hands. Time's on our hands. 1 minute 55 to play. A lead by 11.
So Lithuania will start to look to foul in a moment as Australia will try and use up the 30-second clock. They've used it up 20 seconds. Andrew Gaze again. What a big-time player he is. As Gaze does the job for Australia and has 25 points. 13-point lead. Again, the rebound goes to the Aussies. And Australia finishing this game up very well. Ronaldson will go to the free throw line at the other end off the foul from Lithuania.
What great mental toughness from Australia, Phil. The game was in the balance, and they were looking for somebody to inspire them to come through. Andrew Gaze off the bench, a couple of big plays, some sound defence, enabled Australia to really come up with some big rebounds, some big plays, and a minute 31 to go, looking good.
Well, I told you before that Andrew Gaze had 25 points. The stats got a little ahead of themselves as they must have hit the three-point button twice because he has 22. But he's 5 of 5 from the free throw line, 4 of 6 from two-point area, 3 of 6 from the three-point country, and he has 3 rebounds and 3 steals to go with that. So that's a pretty good afternoon's work from the Australian veteran. Barry Barnes would be feeling very comfortable right now with a 13-point lead with a minute and a half to go, and Australia at the free throw line through Tony Ronaldson. And I'm sure he said, we can't hear him down there, but I'm sure he said about 3 times, use the clock. With 90 seconds to go, let's reduce this to a couple of possessions. But no doubt Lithuania is going to look to foul at every possession right here.
Well, I think Lithuania will have to come down and not only foul but score quickly and then foul. Again, the same game plan. Force them to make 7, 8, 9, 10 passes, grind away on defence.
Ronaldson goes to double figures. So again, a good game for Tony Ronaldson, and those 9 rebounds to go with it. But 1 of 2 off the line. 14-point lead to the Aussies in their best performance of the tournament so far. They beat Lithuania by 18.
There's no urgency in the Lithuanian offence. Here we go.
Stombergus, urgent three-pointer from him, and fouled Anstey then to get rid of the ball. And probably a little fortunate there, Lithuania, because they end up with a foul and go to the free throw line. This is through Aurelius Zukauskas.
Well, again, see, the Lithuanian you'd expect now to come up and try not only foul but get into some sort of full court pressure. Risk a steal if they get a steal and are able to knock a shot down and then come back and get another one. Interesting to see what they play after these free throws here.
Interesting byplay there from Tony Ronaldson, because he had plenty of cause for an appeal there. He had his hands straight up in the air and didn't deserve a foul, and had a few words to Zukauskas as he missed 2 from the free throw line. I think he might have said something about his conscience. 14-point game. Australia in front, using the ball, playing keepings off here, and Lithuania not going out to foul, so I think they've given this game away. Penetration, 3-point shot from Ronaldson. He's left that one short. Anstey bats it clear for Australia, and what's the call here? It may be a foul against Anstey. It is, and that will be the end. No, it's his 4th foul, so it's going to be the big guy Aurelius Zukauskas to go to the other end. Called the foul against Anstey over the back, but it looked like just a 2-man battle there. Zukauskas at the stripe, but it's very academic at the moment, and he misses again. He missed his last 2 there. 14-point game, and he finally makes 1, so it's back to 13. 45 seconds to go. Heel. And nothing in the defence from Lithuania that suggests they want a foul. I don't think they want the lead to blow out if it gets down to a points differential here.
Exactly.
They don't want it to get too big, as it can when you start to foul and put Australia on the line. Heel loses it though that time, and loses it to Musculanis. Gives them an easy 2.
Well, every point now is like gold. We've got to build this again, continue to build the lead out, because, Phil, if it comes down to a count back at the end, we've got to be in a excuse me, a pretty good situation.
Zukauskas making the foul on Andrew Gaze there, puts him at the free throw line. 69 plays 58, and Gaze can build on those 22 points. What a superb game this fellow's had. I mean, he's been hamstrung with fouls in the game, but came back in with 6 minutes to go. And you've got to pay tribute to the coach, Barry Barnes, too, who picked the exact moment to bring Gaze back in. Gaze responded magnificently and poured them in from outside, and he's taken 24 points out of it. Gives Australia a 13-point break. And Australia would like to keep it at that. The crowd counting it down. That's the Aussies in the crowd counting it down. But Stombergus buries one from the baseline and makes it a 10-point game. But a very big win there for Australia. Their 2nd of the tournament. Losses to Spain and Argentina. Now wins over Nigeria, and a big one, the undefeated before today Lithuania. It puts Australia right back in the basketball tournament. Repeating the score, Australia 71 have beaten Lithuania 61. The high man, Andrew Gaze, with 24. 11 points to Shane Heel, as does Chris Anstey, and 10 points to Tony Ronaldson.
Fantastic stuff by the Boomers, and if you wanted to know why Andrew Gaze is the superstar of Australian basketball, there you saw it. 10 points on a run. He was on 4 fouls, in big trouble, but came on and basically turned the game around, fellas, for us.
Andrew Gaze, international best basketball player Australia's ever produced, and boy, wasn't he fantastic. I think he came into the last 3 minutes 50 seconds and streeled off 12 points and hit 2 monster 3-pointers. That one right in the face of the Lithuanian coach.
That was demoralised them, wasn't it?
That would have been a bonus.
Ray, it was fantastic stuff, because the game was very tight in that second period. Even though the Lithuanians' fast break transition play, we managed to shut them down, but didn't have that break until Andrew Gaze came on and performed his magic.
It was pretty well even Stevens all the way through up until Drury come back on, and you know, Drury's just showing what a class player he really is. You know, he's had his stint in the NBA, played in the NCAA, come back to Australia, plays well in NBL, then soldiers on and goes to World Championships and puts in performances like that, which is something that you want him to do and you know he can do, and he just doesn't.
Let's take a look at those stats from the second half because they do tell a story. Andrew Gaze, we'll come to him in a moment, but what do you make of those, Dean?
Well, I guess you look at the rebounds again. Lithuania had the edge on us there, but turnovers, that's probably a big contest there, 5 less. We've been doing very well in the tournament, the turnovers category. I think 12 may be our tournament high so far.
And Ray, on the boards, we still got beaten, but not to any great damage.
Well, yeah, a lot of the offensive boards, they picked up 5 more offensive boards than what we did, and the ones that they got, they weren't able to convert on, and that certainly saved us.
Right there, you look at it, Andrew Gaze, 24, Shane Hill, probably a little bit quiet for him, 11 points. Chris Anstie off the bench again for 11. Good balance scoring there, 4 out of the 5 players in double figures.
And Ronaldson working hard on the paint. Rogers as well, didn't give us a lot offensively, but maybe that's something he's got to work on.
I think you got to put a big clap on the back for Andrew Vlahoff, Sam McKinnon, and a bit for Tony Ronaldson, shutting down. You look there at Kearney Shabashis. What did he have? 10 points for the ballgame, so a great effort by the Australian trio.
There's the full card for Australia, Ray.
Yeah, certainly. Rono playing a lot of minutes there, 33 minutes. Shane didn't come out, and played well. I suppose he didn't do as much as he could have with assists and things like that, but certainly put in a good performance, and that's something that we need him to continue on.
And Kanishevas, 22 points average coming into the game, held to 10. That was a big defensive effort by those two, as you said, Dean.
It just goes to show that you don't have to contribute by scoring baskets in the ball game, but you can play a good defensive game, and that's what Andrew Vlahoff's done. He's been known to do that in the past in World Championships and Olympics, and again, he stood up and he's done a great job.
Well, fantastic stuff. We can now say officially that Australia's back on track to get to the medal rounds because Lithuania were unbeaten. They had beaten the USA earlier in the tournament, so we are now getting to play the form teams and beating them, and that's good news for the Boomers.
Well, as the tournament progresses, you want to get better, and that's exactly what Australia are doing by beating Nigeria, now Lithuania. Now we look forward to the next contest.
Okay, let's go and check the other action overnight. We'll start with the other games from Group F. Remember, the Boomers are in Group F and are a little bit hamstrung coming in with 2 losses, but this is the action from Argentina-USA. Australia will play the USA later in the tournament. Ray, tell us what you think about the US performance here.
Well, the US have performed well. A group of guys that have only been together maybe for a week or so, playing as hard as they are, as they have. Lithuania beat them, but this game they put in a great performance and were able to come away with a victory. Argentina,
though, Dean, did at one point in the second period get back to 54 all, so certainly the USA didn't have it their way. They did run out quite comfortable winners in the end, but certainly they're not unbeatable, this USA team.
No, exactly right. I mean, this is a different team that went to the Goodwill Games, so like you said earlier, Lithuania did get the USA in the first round, so like Australia's never beaten the USA ever in international basketball, so it's a big contest for them coming up in a couple of days' time.
It was 47-38 at halftime to the USA. As I say, Argentina then had a very strong comeback to 54 all, but in the end 87-74 was the final score to the USA. This is Spain versus Brazil. Again, Spain coming out of Australia's Group D with that narrow 1-point victory. Brazil, quite possibly, as you've suggested, Ray, in a rebuilding phase after the Oscar Schmidt has bowed out of the international scene.
Yeah, well, Oscar was a great offensive threat to them and put a lot of points on the board for them and really took a lot of the other team's defensive focus, and so whether he was scoring or not, he'd be able to open up opportunities for the other players to come across and score. And with him not contributing his 25 or so points, they've got to look for somebody else to fill that void.
So it's obviously Spain in the white. It was 31-24 to the Spaniards at half-time. Very tight first half. They let the points rack up in the second half. In the end, it was 73-63 to Spain. And we'll just now confirm those Group F results for you. So Australia 10-point spread over Lithuania. That's a fantastic result. Great news for the Boomers. The USA 87 over Argentina 74. And Spain, another 10-point spread over Brazil. Now, if we can take a quick check of the table. Now, remember, this includes the group matches plus this second pool game. So Australia now has 2-2. But as you can see, still plenty of work to do to get into the top 4. Only the top 4 will go to the quarterfinals. Spain now in a great position, Ray, with 4 wins. You could almost say they're guaranteed of a quarterfinal spot with that win. But the other 3 spots are maybe open for Australia to get into them.
Yeah, they certainly are. With the Australian team 2-2, Argentina are where we need to beat the teams on top of us. Argentina is certainly looking at another loss, and so if they gain that loss, we'll obviously
Australia can step up.
Yep.
On the other side of the draw in Group E, there were again 3 games played. We'll take a look at some of the action. Yugoslavia versus Canada. Dean, we've identified Yugoslavia as possibly the maybe gold medal favourites at the moment.
Yeah, well, they certainly showed it in this game. I was surprising when I saw the result of this 40-point difference to the Canadians. Like I mentioned early in the tournament, I saw Canada out here against Australia, and gee, they played good basketball, but they just got hammered right here. And speaking to my Yugoslavian mate yesterday, he was saying that Yugoslavia will go all the way. He was very confident with it, so that's a pretty big scoreline, nearly doubled the Canadians' result there.
And it was never very close, 44-23 at half-time, so almost doubled them, and then, as you say, 95-55 in the end. Very comfortable win for Yugoslavia. This is Russia and Italy, and the Russians again only lost to Yugoslavia in overtime, so they're not far behind in terms of their challenge. And here we have a game where the Russians did it quite easily in the end.
Well, I think you look at both scorelines, Canada 55, Italy 55. Good defensive effort by both sides, Yugoslavia and Russia, like we saw in the early rounds. Both very good ball clubs.
So it was 71-55 in the end. Puerto Rico, Greece, the host nation again, so we see the stadium full. And I don't think the home fans would have had too many things to cheer about. They did have a win, Greece, but I think they would have expected to account for the Puerto Ricans a little bit more easily, Ray.
Yeah, certainly the Puerto Ricans are a team that are able to string a couple of wins together and run up and down very quickly and get good baskets. But when it comes to the hard grind of European basketball, they really struggle. And you find that, you know, in this game, the Greek team were able to get up by 6, but the fastness of the Puerto Rican game has certainly slowed down.
So just to confirm those Group E results, this is the other side of the draw, if you like. Australia will hopefully come up against one of these teams in the quarterfinals. Yugoslavia, easy winners over Canada, 40 points. Russia quite comfortably over Italy. And Greece not so comfortably over Puerto Rico, who came in with one of the worst records into this second pool, 71-64, only 7 points there. So maybe Greece showing that they might find the going tough. We'll just check a few other results because teams who finished bottom, well, there's the ladder first of all, excuse me. So Greece, Yugoslavia still unbeaten with Spain in this group. Again, the struggle will be for the Puerto Rico and Canada. Dean, I don't think they can maybe challenge from here. They may be their race is run.
I think probably you're right. Puerto Rico, that was probably their best ball game in the tournament so far up against the Greeks, and 7-point difference, probably a pretty good effort for them. They've been probably disappointed in the tournament, as have Australia, but Australia have shown that they can improve where Puerto Rico haven't been able to.
We'll just check. I was going to mention there were some other results because teams who are playing for 13th to 16th, these are the teams who finished 4th in the group, Senegal and Japan. A bit of interest here for Asia. Obviously the Japanese doing quite well here, Ray. I don't know whether this is regarded as an upset, but quite possibly the Japanese game is still developing, and they'd be quite happy with this result, beating Senegal.
Yeah, they certainly would be. The Japanese league is just starting now, and they've got a lot of good Americans playing over there. They pay big money over there, and it's good to see that the Japanese have actually been able to come out and contribute to the tournament. And certainly along with Korea, they're going to be a focus for the future.
And this is the other classification game, Nigeria, who gave Australia a bit of a fright, proving that they had too much in all departments, Dean, for South Korea.
Yeah, Nigeria would have to consider themselves unlucky to have to be relegated to the classification rounds because, you know, they've got that boy who was tested positive for the cold and flu tablet trying to fix his thigh.
Julius and Wasso, our friend, yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, obviously they were just too strong for South Korea, too big, too athletic, and they took out a, 34-point margin. So good effort by the Nigerians.
So that means Japan and Nigeria will go on to play tomorrow for 13th place, the other 13th and 14th place, Senegal and South Korea playing for 15 and 16. Consolation prizes, but important for those developing basketball nations. As for Australian basketball, we count ourselves as one of the world powerhouses, and maybe we're going to live up to that ranking of being in the top 4 in the world, Ray. Have we turned the corner now, do you think?
Certainly everybody's playing well. I can't believe the way that Chris Anstey's really come along. He's playing very well every couple of minutes that he gets. He's able to come on, contribute, get some rebounds. great defence as well. Paul Rogers is probably struggled a little bit against Lithuania, but you know, he'll certainly be a big body inside for us, and with all the other contributions by the other players, it's certainly going to be good for us.
Okay, Dean and Ray, we have to leave it there. Thanks for your input today. We'll see you later in our coverage of World Basket 98. Thanks again, fellas.
Thanks, Carl.
Thank you.
Okay, tomorrow from 3 p.m, a full replay of Australia versus Brazil, our next opponent, and then a full wrap of Day 6 of the World Basket from 6 p.m. Please check your local guides for details. But for now, on behalf of the team bringing you World Basket 98, I'm Kyle Patterson. Goodbye.